Okay, so obviously I'm Teddy. So sort of my presentation is going to be on ESRI. I'm supposed to be doing it with Abby and Julia, and we're kind of splitting our presentation. So Abby's covering, I think, GeoServer, and Julia's covering Map Server. So I'm pretty much just going to talk about ESRI right now. Just pretty much the terminology that's involved in the suite, the models they sort of use in the applications and the licenses. So a bit of an overview on my presentation. I'm just going to give a brief history on the suite. How data is actually stored in ARCGIS, because it's kind of confusing initially, you don't really know what's going on. The components in ARCGIS and how it all fits together. So a bit of history. So initially it started with ARC/ARCinfo, which is basically, it was a sort of command line thing, really awesome, and no GUI, I think up until like 1998 or something. So yeah, versions 1 to 7 from 1980 to 1999 introduced a custom language called ARC macro language. And on the flip side, they also had ArcView, which is pretty much more of a GUI implementation. So versions 1 to 3, essentially from 1994 to 1999, and it had its own scripting language. So eventually, I think around 2001, it actually merged into ArcGIS, which started with version 8. The latest one is version 10, and this one uses Python scripting. So you notice on each one, right beside the red, I have the models for each one, and these are pretty much geographic models. So they each used sort of a different way of representing data in. So I'll talk a little more about that next. So what is a geographic data model? So there's a huge, long sort of description that I found by Scott Morehouse. But essentially it's just a way of describing and reasoning things that are located on the Earth. So each of them use a different method of reasoning. So I'll talk about next. So a data model, I guess, so I have a little diagram about it. So you have geographic coordinates and you have table attributes. Essentially you're going from the coordinates to sort of table data. So it just organizes it better for your application. So you can easily store it or retrieve it, that kind of thing. So there's sort of two different ones that I found that are used in ESRI. So there's coverages and there's shapefiles. So shapefiles, I think Chris might have touched on already. And there's coverages. So coverages are basically sort of outlines of continents or other things. So essentially if you have the map of Africa, a coverage would just essentially be the outline of the entire continent. If you get a shapefile is in way more detail. So you have all the contours, the mountains, all that kind of thing. So there's some information. So coverage is up in 1980, the complex, and there's info tables, and the shapefiles, and you sort of view them right by the viewer, and the attributes are all stored in the files. So how can I actually store? So this is on the system architecture, or on your computer. You have two different files. So coverages are stored in their own separate folders, and shapefiles each have their own sort of structure. They're all in one folder. So this gets kind of confusing if you don't know what's going on there. So actual components. So there's obviously ArcMap. So this is pretty much, I think most of us have used this. I think Chris touched on this earlier. So you can view and edit data, you can create maps, and you can analyze data. So it's pretty straightforward. For me to describe, it actually uses quite complex. The next is our catalog. So this lets you sort of view all your map information in the Windows Explorer format. So it's just like using Windows Explorer. You can view lots of metadata about files, anything to get graphical previews of map files, and you also actually edit tables, so the actual tables of shapefiles. Then you also have our toolbox, which is actually in a lot of the ESRI applications, so you can get finders of ArcMap. And this pretty much has a bunch of common things that you want to do, so like changing projection, making projections, converting things, that sort of thing. So there's a bunch of levels of ArcGIS, so I describe ArcMap, ArcInfo, all that kind of thing. But actually, they have 3 different levels, so there's basic, there's standard, and there's advanced. It used to be called ArcView, ArcEdit, ArcInfo. So the basic one is just you have ArcMap and all that sort of thing, and it's about $1,500. This one lists you all the basic things, so creating maps, doing maps, making simple geodatabases, that's $1,500. So the other one's standard and advanced, are more for enterprise, and if you're actually doing professional GIS stuff. I actually can get a full price on them, so I actually took the prices that they gave with a computer. So if you want to buy a laptop with standard, it's $7,000. If you want to buy a laptop with advanced, it's $15,000. But they're pretty low scale laptops, so I figured just that interesting. I actually think I'm assuming it's like weight. So putting it all together, essentially when you have sort of full suite, if you're an author, you have desktop GIS, you can publish to the server, and you can also view it online, and then if you're actually using it, you can view it on the web, you can also go back to your computer and sort of modify it on the server again, or you can access it online. So that pretty much covers everything we're looking for. Any questions?